There is a certain kind of person who hears the words, party this weekend, and immediately starts thinking of a polite way to decline. Not because they are sad, not because they fear people, but because deep down they truly prefer their own space. And psychologists are finally realizing that society has misunderstood them for a long time. There is an important difference between feeling lonely and choosing to be alone. One feels painful, the other can actually be a strength. For years, psychology grouped everyone who likes solitude into one worrying box: introverts, loners, antisocial types, especially that last label. As if enjoying your own company meant you were halfway to becoming some kind of cautionary tale. But then research took an interesting turn. In 2016, a group of psychologists at the University of Buffalo asked a question no one had really taken seriously before. What if some people simply like being alone? Not because they are afraid of others, not because something is broken, but because solitude genuinely feels good to them. They called this trait unsociability. And no, that is not the same as being antisocial, which involves hostility toward people. It is also not the same as avoidance, which comes from fear. Unsociability is a calm, secure preference for your own company. And when researchers looked closely at these people, the results were surprising. They were not struggling, they were thriving. So what is actually happening inside the brain of someone who truly enjoys being alone? For starters, their dopamine system works a little differently. Extroverted people tend to get big dopamine boosts from social interaction, the laughter, the shared energy, the excitement of being around others. People who prefer solitude usually have a more sensitive dopamine system. They reach their ideal level of stimulation much faster. Think of it like spice tolerance. An extrovert might need a whole hot pepper to feel anything. Someone who loves solitude, one tiny pinch is more than enough. And it gets even more interesting. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for deep thought, self-reflection, and complex problem-solving, becomes more active during time spent alone. They are not sitting there doing nothing. Their minds are busy with reflection, creativity, and internal processing. And here is something worth noticing. Research on creativity consistently shows that breakthrough ideas rarely appear in loud group sessions or crowded spaces. They tend to show up in the shower, on quiet walks, late at night, when the world finally slows down. Albert Einstein did much of his best thinking alone. So did Isaac Newton. Virginia Woolf even wrote an entire essay called A Room of One's Own about the necessity of solitude. Maya Angelou would rent a hotel room just to write in peace, even though she had a perfectly good home. That is not a coincidence. Now, before you start labeling yourself, and I know many of you are already thinking, this sounds familiar, let us pause for a moment. There is an important distinction we need to make. Are you choosing solitude, or are you hiding inside it? Because here is the uncomfortable truth. Some people are not embracing being alone. They are using it as protection, as armor against rejection, judgment, or the vulnerability that comes with real connection. And this is where honesty matters. Psychologist Abraham Maslow spoke about this difference. He believed healthy solitude comes from a place of fullness, not lack. You enjoy your own company because you have experienced meaningful connections, and you know you can experience them again. You are not escaping from people, you are turning inward, toward yourself. The real question is not whether you enjoy being alone. The real question is why. If your reasons sound like recharge, create, reflect, or think things through, you are probably in a healthy place with solitude. If your reasons sound more like safer, easier, or less painful, that might point to something else worth looking at. Not wrong, not broken, just different, and maybe something to talk through with someone you trust. Now let us come back to the people who truly do well on their own, because they have figured out something many others are still trying to understand. They have learned that being alone does not mean being incomplete. Think about the way we talk about relationships. my other half, my better half. You complete me. We have built this story that people are like unfinished puzzle pieces searching for the one piece that makes them whole. But people who enjoy solitude tend to see it differently. They look at that story and think, I am already complete. What is interesting is that this is not arrogance, it is self-knowledge. Research by Dr. Bella DiPaolo at the University of California, Santa Barbara, found that single people who are comfortable with solitude often maintain stronger relationships with friends, family, and their community than many partnered people. They are not trying to squeeze every emotional need out of one person. They are not clinging, they are choosing. They understand something important. The way you spend time alone shapes the way you show up with others. When solitude helps you feel rested, grounded, and mentally clear, your relationships improve. You are not drained. You are not resentful. You are not expecting someone else to fill a gap. You arrive as a whole person because you have already taken care of yourself. There is real strength in that. Here is something that might surprise you. In Japan, there is a word for intentional alone time. It is called hitori jikan, and it is not treated as strange, it is respected. There are restaurants designed for solo diners, movie theaters with single seats that feel normal, not awkward. Entire customs built around the idea that sometimes you simply need to be with yourself. There are even private karaoke booths for one person. Think about that. Singing alone in a soundproof room is considered a normal activity. Meanwhile, in many Western cultures, eating alone still gets questioned as if it needs an explanation. So what does this mean for you? If you truly enjoy being alone, consider this your permission slip. You are not odd. You are not broken. Your brain is wired to restore itself through solitude. And that is not just acceptable, it is useful. The world needs people who can sit with themselves, people who can think deeply without constant noise, people who understand the difference between real connection and emotional dependence. In a time where everyone is expected to be available, responsive, and constantly connected, enjoying your own company might be one of the most countercultural skills you can have. Just make sure you are being honest with yourself. Can you connect when you want to? Do you have people you trust? Are you choosing solitude or using it to hide? Because the healthiest relationship with being alone is when it is a choice, not a shield. The next time someone asks why you spend so much time alone, or why you canceled plans, or why you would rather stay home with a book than go to a party, you have options. You could explain dopamine sensitivity. You could talk about prefrontal cortex activity. You could mention Japanese culture, famous thinkers, and decades of research showing that solitude is not social failure, but often social intelligence. Or you could simply smile and say, because I enjoy my own company. That usually ends the conversation. And honestly, that is kind of the point.